Hey Bears fans, we're going to do something a little bit different on today's show. We're going to talk about Braxton Jones and the potential rookie starting at left tackle, give some background info. Be honest with me, did you know who Braxton Jones was before the NFL draft? Type Y for yes, type in for no. If you're typing your Y for yes, then hey, good for you. I had heard of him, but I'll be honest, I didn't study his pre-draft work at all. And then the Bears draft him, and now things have obviously changed. Y for yes, in for no. That being said, we'll jump into today's show. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend, good Father's Day, all that good stuff. Be sure you are subscribed to Bears Now on the Callin app. It's chatsports.com/BearsCallin. Download the app on iOS and Android as well. Search Bears Now. You'll find us because we'll be live tomorrow, as always, after our YouTube and Rumble live stream. All right, on today's show, I'm going to answer this question for you. Who is Braxton Jones? Because I think a lot of you guys are probably asking that question, considering the fifth-round rookie out of Southern Utah has been getting some first-team reps at left tackle. That happened during the final week of OTAs. That continued throughout mandatory minicamp. To my knowledge, he took all the first-team reps at left tackle, which leads me to the conclusion that Braxton Jones is the favorite to start at left tackle, at least as we enter training camp in just over a month. Now, Braxton Jones met with the media and had this to say in terms of getting those first-team reps this soon. He said, yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was definitely a little bit surprised. I mean, that surprise went away quickly. It was thrown on me, and it's time to go. It was just something where you have to take a step forward. You have to progress more quickly, and I think that's good for me. So Braxton Jones kind of being thrown into the fire and even admitting, being honest, which I appreciate, of, yeah, look, I'm excited to be here, but I was surprised I'm getting first-team reps this soon. And the way you could look at it is, A, Braxton Jones is really impressing, which I think there's some truth to that at minimum. B, the Bears don't feel great about their tackle situation. But right now, this is how the offensive line depth chart sits. Braxton Jones at left tackle, Cody Whitehair at left guard, Lucas Patrick at center, Sam Mustipher at right guard, and then Larry Borum has been getting the starting right tackle reps over the past couple of weeks. Tevin Jenkins has been working with the twos. I think some of this stuff could fluctuate, but as of now, after minicamp is done, I think this is how things sit. I think it's pretty clear that unless the Bears go sign someone or unless someone comes and takes it at training camp, Braxton Jones is the favorite to start at left tackle. Things could change. When the pads go on, competition is going to ramp up a bit. Maybe he won't be ready for that. But so far, I think you're looking at Braxton Jones. If there was a games tomorrow, he would start at left tackle for Chicago. What do you guys think? Will Braxton Jones start week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers? Type S for start, or type B if you think he'll be a backup. Got a gut feeling this kid's going to start. They like this kid. I'm starting to like him as well. Get your votes in on this one, and then after this, we will kind of just tell you who the hell Braxton Jones is. So there's the background on where the Bears sit with him. He's been starting at left tackle the last couple of weeks during practices. Now the Bears are on break, so I thought, you know what? You guys have been asking me. This has been a popular name over the past couple of weeks during the Bears offseason. Who is Braxton Jones? 5th-round pick for the Bears, but who exactly is this guy? I've got 5 bullet points to kind of help explain who he is and what his journey has been like. So, back in 2017, grew up in Salt Lake City, went to Murray High School in the state of Utah. 2-star recruit. And he had 1 scholarship offer, according to 24/7 Sports. That, of course, is and was Southern Utah. Only scholarship program to offer him a scholarship. No FBS offers, only FCS. Despite being listed at 6'6", 265 and playing in Salt Lake, it's not like this is some underground city in America. You know, you hear about kids all the time that, you know, play at these 1A, 2A schools that you never hear about them, and then boom, they get a chance in college and they take off. 6'6", 265, this kid couldn't get a D1 offer. Pretty surprising. Southern Utah, the only school to offer. So he commits to Southern Utah early January 2017. He enrolls, does all of that. And what's so fascinating is Southern Utah is not even a good FCS program. It's not like this is North Dakota State or, Sam Houston or one of these other schools as well. Southern Utah isn't even a good FCS program, which is so fascinating. I'll just verbalize how bad they kind of are. 6-34 since 2018, Southern Utah. They're not even an average FCS school, and this kid only gets an offer from there, and he ends up getting drafted in the NFL draft. That is phenomenal. This kid just slipped through the cracks. I mean, it's pretty clear, and I think there's examples of this that happen all the time, but pretty extreme for Braxton Jones for that to be the case. I mean, it's not like, he was 6'4", 230, and then just shot up 2 inches and 60 pounds in college. Like, he was 6'6", 265. A lot of college offensive linemen listed at that are 3 and 4 stars and are committing to bigger programs. Now, I'm not saying he was, worthy in that polished of a product back then. I'm just saying it's very fascinating that he's a 2-star guy, only gets an offer from Southern Utah. He's like the 3,100th ranked player in his class, and here he is getting first-team reps for the Chicago Bears. Speaking of Southern Utah, shout out your college team in the chat. Maybe your alma mater if you didn't go to college or if you're not in college yet. Let me know who your favorite college football team is. I went to TCU. I imagine we got a lot of Northwestern, a lot of Big Ten fans in the comments here on Bears Now. Just curious, shout out your favorite college team. Producer Trace is an Arkansas fan. All right, next bullet point. So it goes to Southern Utah. They stink, but he shines well enough to get an NFL Combine invite and takes advantage of it. Tests pretty darn well at the NFL Combine. We'll go with this full-screen photo here of kind of his relative athletic score. Shout out to Math Bomb on Twitter if you don't follow them. Basically, he does all of the testing stuff for these prospects at the Combine and compares them to where they sit not only in this year's class but over time as well. Green is good, yellow is middle of the pack, red is bad. A lot of green, decent amount of yellow, hardly any red. That's a good sign. Plus, number one, this put Jones on the Bears' radar, I think, because a lot of the testing that he did well, he showed the agility, showed the quickness, ran well in the 40, light on his feet, all that good stuff. Plus, his size and weight combo, 6'5", 6'6", 310 pounds, little light at 6'6", but the mobility is there, and that is what Ryan Poles likes in his offensive linemen. So the testing fit exactly what Poles wants in his Bears offensive lineman. So you had the testing, you had the athleticism that the Bears were looking for, so that put him on the Bears' radar and probably on NFL radars as well. I would say that combine performance is what got him drafted. A couple more bullet points to kind of just break down Braxton Jones' journey for you guys over the last several years and most recently the most recent months. But like we mentioned earlier, we're going to go live on the Call-In app tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 Central after we go live every Tuesday on YouTube and Rumble. Link is right there, chatsports.com/BearsCallin. If you have an iPhone or an Android, download the app on iOS and Android. It is free. You can search Bears Now or go back to that link we just had, chatsports.com/BearsCallin, and that'll redirect you to Bears Now. That way you can subscribe and join us. It's free. This app allows you to call me directly, kind of like Twitter Spaces, and, we'll talk about the Bears. You can ask your questions. It's a whole lot of fun. Chatsports.com/BearsCallin. We'll be live once again tomorrow. Okay, so he tests well, yada, yada, yada. Bears draft him in the 5th round, number 168 overall. And remember, during the draft, day 1 goes by. The Bears didn't have a pick, obviously. Day 2, Bears went 2 defensive players, 1 offensive player, but it was a wide receiver, Halas Jones Jr., so we're sitting there, one of the offensive line going to come. Well, the Bears drafted 4 offensive linemen on day 3. Jones was the first one that they picked. So I think that's somewhat notable that they identified him as the first offensive lineman to draft in this 2022 NFL draft. Of course, the Bears would go on, draft a few other guys. Zach Thomas went just about 18 picks later, guard, tackle, flex guy out of San Diego State. Doug Kramer out of Illinois could be this team's backup center. Then Ja'Tyre Carter in the 7th round as well, who actually got some first-team reps at guard this week while Cody Whitehair missed a practice. So, but Braxton Jones, 168 overall, the first offensive lineman drafted by Ryan Poles, a former lineman himself. I think that's significant. And then you fast forward, he goes through rookie minicamp, he gets through first part of OTAs, and by week 3 of OTAs, he's the starting left tackle. He's getting first-team reps that continued through minicamp. After OTAs, I said, I'll be very interested to see if Braxton Jones is the starting left tackle at the start of minicamp. Not only was he was throughout. feels like this is your starting left tackle, at least at this point in time. Again, things could change. Free agency. You want to sign an Eric Fisher, a Dwayne Brown, hell, bring back a Jason Peters. They're all unsigned. Maybe Tevin Jenkins or Larry Borum ends up reemerging as a starting left tackle option. But it kind of feels like it's Jones' job to lose. Now, Chris Trapasso, who covers the NFL draft for CBS Sports, had this to say recently with all this stuff becoming public of Jones being a starter potentially. He said, Braxton Jones is the Bears' future franchise left tackle. He has all the tools, the demeanor to be a stud, had no business being available in round 5. This kind of goes back to his recruiting, I think. Just overlooked guy for years now, but not anymore. I mean, the Bears noticed him. They're giving him starter reps. Looks like this could be your guy at left tackle. Now, the pads haven't gone on yet. We haven't seen him try to block a Robert Quinn or certainly an opposing team's defensive end. But, I mean, so far so good for Braxton Jones. What does it mean for the Bears? It means one of two things. One, they found a gem. You're hoping that's the case. 2, their tackle options aren't that great. You're hoping that's not the case. Maybe it's a combination of both. We'll see. We'll see what happens in training camp and on into the preseason. Are you excited about Braxton Jones? Type me in the comments if you are. I think you got to be at least a little excited. If you found a starting left tackle in the 5th round of the draft out of Southern Utah, yeah, that would be a pretty damn good reason to be excited. Type me down in the comments. Make sure you also subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/BearsNow. Bring you videos every single day. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to go live on Call-In tomorrow after our YouTube live stream, which is always on Tuesdays, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central Time. Subscribe. Join us. Chicago Bears Now is your home for the latest Bears news and rumors here on YouTube. Braxton Jones also said this during his press conference after minicamp. I know I'm a 5th-round draft pick and everything like that, but I was drafted for a reason, and I think I'm here for a reason, and that's the biggest thing. It's going to be a process for sure. I'm just taking it day by day and getting 1% better every day. This kid, number one, believes in himself. That's clear. You listen to him talk. Go watch it if you haven't. Bears tweeted out his press conference last week. He's well-spoken. He's confident. He's also honest and saying, hey, this is a journey. This is a process. Like, I had to prove myself just to get an offer from Southern freaking Utah, and then I had to play well at that level to get a combine invite. Then I had to gain the trust of the Bears to draft me. Like, this kid understands process in life to slowly build up and up and up. Looks like it's paying off. Got to keep that mindset, though, if he's going to have a chance to start at left tackle. All right, different type of video today. Kind of did a player profile, a journey on Braxton Jones. Did you like today's video? If you did, type L for like and also like the video. Or type D for dislike. If you weren't a fan, if you want to get us to get back to our normal just rumors and news type of roundups, that's okay, too. Let me know, L for like or D for dislike. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Bears Now. Remember, month of June, all about likes. So if you love the Bears, you love what we do, and you want us to win this competition, hit that thumbs up icon. I'm Harrison Graham. Shout out producer Trace for getting us through this show. We'll see you next time, tomorrow, live show on the channel.